Let's talk about the Jujutsu Kaisen community because they are wilding out right now. For those who are not up to speed, a popular narrative that's going around is that Gege does not know how to create an emotional connection between his characters and the audience. Some fans are saying things like he's incapable of doing it, he's an inexperienced mangaka, all types of things. And I think that a lot of fans are missing the type of manga Jujutsu Kaisen really is. Before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And let's get right into it. So this whole narrative started when Shibuya arc started in the anime. Season 1 was fine, it was like a warm-up. Jujutsu Kaisen wasn't really popping like that yet, but when the Shibuya arc started and Jujutsu Kaisen gained a lot of popularity and a lot of hype, that's when a silent, small narrative started within the anime community of Jujutsu Kaisen. And that is, Jujutsu Kaisen is an anime in which you cannot emotionally connect with the characters because they die so suddenly, they die so quick. You don't have time to really connect with the characters. And of course, if the fans are gonna blame someone, it's the mangaka, in this case, Gege Akutami. And before I'm gonna share my opinion on this, I must say there is some truth to the narrative. Jujutsu Kaisen is a shonen manga. And for a lot of people who read or watch a lot of shonen manga or titles, you expect certain things. And one of those things, which is a big thing in shonen, is a sad backstory, a reason for someone dying, like a moment of standing still with someone's death. There's like a whole thing around it. Characters usually don't just die in shonen because they were unlucky or that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, which also takes a lot away from realism. Because let's be honest, sometimes you're just unlucky. Sometimes you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It happens, it's possible. A sad backstory or a whole reason for your death is not something that everybody gets. And this too is where Jujutsu Kaisen differs a lot from other shonen titles. To begin with, the whole Jujutsu Kaisen period up until now in the manga is not even a year yet. It's like a 6-month period right now. And in those couple of months, a lot of shit has happened, as we've all seen. And I know, the time period in itself is not an excuse for the lack of emotional connections with characters, because if you take, for example, One Piece, we know it has a lot of episodes, it has a lot of chapters, but the time period in arcs isn't that long. And as an audience, we still connect with the characters, we're still sad about the backstories, about the deaths, but in its base, it's a very different situation than Jujutsu Kaisen. But that's just to begin with. Let's step away from the time period for a bit. Let's take 2 examples of deaths or possible deaths that had mixed feelings with the anime community or with the Jujutsu Kaisen community overall. Nanami and Nobara. Before Nanami's death, we've seen some images, some footage, some flashes of his past and what he did before becoming a Jujutsu sorcerer. So we get a little bit of a backstory there. However, his death was a sudden one. Because yeah, he already looked half dead while he was walking and like fighting, scrapping, and you know, he was on the verge of death. If I had to put Nobara's death and Nanami's death next to each other, Nanami's death gives more of a typical shonen vibe death, since you know, Itadori was just coming up, he says to Itadori, you got it from here, giving the main character a boost. So it was more in the typical shonen death type of way. Now if we take Nobara, that's something that I personally believe where the narrative blew up. For the anime onlys, the anime didn't really show you that well, that Nobara didn't really have time to react. In the anime, it seems like she had a lot of time to like dodge the attack or, you know, get out of the way. But in the manga, it was really different. Maito was just there. He was fast as fuck. She could not have reacted to that. Well, you know, if she had like Toji's reflexes, it was different, but we're talking Nobara here. So no deeper meaning to her death, no supportive act towards the main character, no overly sad backstory so you can, you know, connect with her and the way she died. In short, she was just caught lacking. It was a battle, Maito was the smarter one, and he just got her. While still being a fantasy manga, Jujutsu Kaisen focuses much more on the realistic side of a battle, in which if you're not strong enough or if you don't pay attention, you are not going to win that battle, even if you are the main character. Like in this case, Itadori has Sukuna, and even the connection with Itadori, the main character, and Sukuna, his inner demon, which has been done countless times before, with of course Naruto being like a ground setter for it almost. But even that connection is very different. Like Sukuna hates Itadori from his core. He's not gonna become friends with him and help him from the goodness of his heart. You know, he's gonna act a fool every time. He doesn't care whether Itadori dies or not, it just needs to help him and his plans advance. So if Itadori dying disrupts his plans, yes, he's gonna help him. If he can torture Itadori by keeping him alive and doing some extra shit like he was doing in Shibuya, he's just gonna do it because he feels like doing that, and that's the kind of relationship he has with Sukuna. But to get back to the narrative, I understand why people say that Jujutsu Kaisen lacks the emotional connection with characters, but in my opinion, you're wrong to even look for that emotional connection in Jujutsu Kaisen because it's not that type of manga to begin with. It's not a manga where you can just believe in the power of friendship and everything's gonna be alright. In its core, I just think Jujutsu Kaisen is not trying to be one of those mangas or one of those titles. So no, I don't think that Gege is incapable of creating that connection or that he is inexperienced as a mangaka. I just think that he's going for a different direction than what you expect from a shonen title. If you ask me, Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the better new gen animes, new gen manga, and I really enjoy reading it and watching it. Comment down below what you guys think of the narrative. Do you agree with it? Do you think that Gege is in fact incapable of creating that connection? Or do you, like me, think that Gege is just going into a very different direction than the typical shonen? Let me know down below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Share if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one.